So there's something that's very consistent, and that is every time I go to a church and I get like rejected by that church, as soon as I leave that church, God judges that church. And so it happened a long time ago. I was going to a church and then I left because I was rejected, and like the church burned down. And then I went to another church, and the pastor was persecuting the prophets, and I was one of the prophets. Then his daughter dies on Christmas. And he's 20 years in disobedience with his top armor bearer. 20 years of disobedience. His top armor bearer was told by the Lord to go start your own ministry. And the pastor said, no, I want you to stay with me. And he's 20 years, he's still an armor bearer at that church. But Bethel Church, now I just left Bethel Church, and I was wondering what kind of judgment God was going to place on them, because when I went, they didn't cleanse the leper, and I was the leper. I was the one who needed cleansing. And I had all these visions about a tree branch being cut off, and the tree branch represented Bethel Church. And it has been so consistent that when I'm rejected by a church or any ministry, another ministry, they didn't do what I was telling them to do by the Holy Spirit, and I left, and that church dissolved. And when I say dissolved, it just no longer exists. Another church I left, and I don't know I think that church is still operational, but the owners of the building sold the building, so they had to move to a new location. So something always happens, but most recently is Bethel Church in Redding. And the week that I left, I remember I was wondering what's going to happen. Is God going to judge the church? And literally the week that I left, I was asking God, should I go to church one last time? And the Lord said, don't go. And then I found out that was the week that the coronavirus regulations were enacted, where they basically, the whole church was emptied, basically, and people weren't allowed to go. So even if I had decided to go to church, the Lord told me not to go, but if I had decided to go, I couldn't have gone because of the coronavirus mandated social distancing and whatever. In other words, the church was shut down the very week that I left Redding. And I just always think that's interesting how God works. Now, some people might say, well, it wasn't because of you. That was the coronavirus that did that. Blah, 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 blah. All I can say is it's been consistent in my life. But I do have to say that, let's see what happens. But these people judged me. They gang stalked me. They didn't cleanse the leper. They didn't do anything they didn't do what they were supposed to do as a ministry. And, they didn't raise the dead either. And if the people who, especially in the North American church, if the people who claim to be apostles and prophets, if they really are apostles and prophets, God have mercy on all the inhabitants of the earth and all of Christianity, because nobody's raising the dead. Coronavirus is defeating the church right now. I mean, I'm not joking. They're all running scared from coronavirus. It's ridiculous. And that's what Jesus meant when he talked about, when the Son of Man comes, will he find faith on earth? This is what we see in North American Christianity. This is exactly what Jesus meant when he posed that question, where will there be faith? Will the Lord find faith on earth right now? And the answer is no. Basically, when God sends a prophet to you, they just reject him. And then after they reject the prophet, their whole church is shut down. It's ridiculous, man. It's crazy. And I'm in awe too. I'm like, Lord, really? For real, Lord? Why are you so mean, Lord? And I'm blessed to God no matter what I do, I swear.